So, can we start? Okay, because since you three introduced yourselves, I'll just tell a little bit about me. I'm one of the new faculty members in the department. I worked as an evaluation specialist at University of Wisconsin before coming here. So in that role, one of the data collection methods that I've used a lot is the focus groups. So that's why Carly asked me to do this session. So what I'm trying to do today is I'll just share around 25 points that I have gleaned from literature and also from my experience of conducting focus groups. So I'll just present one point after the other. If you have any questions right there, you can just stop me and ask. Or if you would rather wait that I complete all the 25 or some points that I have as best practices. And if you want to ask questions after that, that is also fine. So I'm planning to present only around 10 minutes and then just leave this for discussion. So that's what I asked Kali, and she was fine with it. So we wanted to keep this more as a discussion, just to make sure that you ask what you want, rather than I just telling all the best practices, and some of them may or may not be very applicable for the one that you are doing now. So when is this one going to happen?
Do we know the date?
I think they said they want to do like week 9 or 10. I think there's 2 in winter quarter, and they said they were going to get more done if possible in the beginning of spring quarter, just because some folks are going to be doing posters for the conference in mid-April.
Yeah.
And do you know what the program is? Like what you are going to ask?
Oh, so like what the project is?
Project is.
So it's called the Social Belonging Focus Group, and so it's focusing on, specifically focusing on the experiences of freshmen and transfer, so basically incoming students, and understanding like how they feel transitioning into the new community, and understanding like if they have a sense of belonging, and evaluating if like the stories that they read prior to coming to Davis were effective, and if it made it more helpful for them to transition.
Yeah, and I think like long term looking at like retention rate and things that we can do to like improve.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So the first point I have is have sufficient background knowledge on the topic. So read the scripts Kali has provided and ask her any questions that you may have. In general, you don't need to be like an expert on this because you're just collecting the views from the students, but have sufficient background information so that you feel comfortable. Even after doing this, you may not have answers to some of the questions. That is fine. You can just say that you'll get back, or you can just ask them to directly contact Kali or Sue, whoever the other person. So I had such an experience quite a few times. One of the examples I'll just give is related to understanding the context also. So my background is in agriculture and extension education. So I was conducting a focus group after a field day was conducted on soil health. So there were some questions in that focus group about the technical components, like about soil health. So even though my background is in agriculture and I could have been able to answer some of those questions, but it was more contextual. So I just said like you can ask the project director. So my role here is as an evaluation person, I'm here to know from you how the field day went and what can be done to improve it. So that is my role. So for any technical related information, you can ask the project director. So I had sufficient background about what the project was, but I didn't have to know everything about it in order to answer everything about the program. So that's the first thing, just know sufficiently, but you don't have to have answers for every technical question that they ask about the research on social belonging. You don't need to know all that. If you know, like, it's super, but you don't need to. So the second point too is for you to understand that there are no right or wrong answers, like what the students are telling. You are just collecting their views about the program, and that there is really no right or wrong answer. And you have to give that feeling throughout the focus group that there is no right or wrong answer. We are just collecting their views. And point 3 that I have is to tell the participants very clearly that they don't need to answer every question or anything that they don't feel comfortable with, even after they volunteer to stay and participate in the program, they don't need to answer everything. Just try to maximize the participation, but don't kind of try to make them feel uncomfortable that they have to answer everything. It's completely voluntary. It's their wish, right? So then the next point I have is to the extent possible, have one participant talking at a time. So it's efficient use of time, and also it gives a chance for you to make everyone answer. That may not be always possible because it's human interactions, right? You can't control literally everything, but try to the extent possible to have one participant talking at a time. Some people may contribute to what another person is telling, that is fine, but just don't try to have like too many people talking at the same time, so there's nothing clearly understood. And the next point I have as a best practice is maintain a permissive and non-threatening environment. So by this, what I mean is have a very friendly kind of an atmosphere. So make it be like a non-formal kind of a thing, but at the same time don't make it too informal. So by that, what I mean is there is still some structure, but you are not forcing, right? Like if you have seen Kali's scripts, she has some time estimates for each of the questions. So it's 13 minutes, it's not like strictly 13, you have to cut it there. But just don't let people go on and on so you don't get done in time, and going beyond the time that they were told when they volunteered or when they recruited is not good. Like if it is 60 minutes and 65 is kind of okay. But if you're going on for 90 minutes, then it's really not good. They may not be able to tell you that, they may even tell you that it's okay, but it's not really okay. Like you really can't go on and on. Just because some people are overly enthusiastic, we have to be considerate of everyone else's needs and requirements. Then the next point 6 I have is keep the conversation going and balance the opinions in the group. If there is like differing opinions, just try to balance. See that one opinion, one set of opinions don't get more weightage or time in the group compared to the other one. So I have experienced, I don't expect that to happen in this focus group, but I have experienced that there are some dull moments. Like I even sometimes I wondered like why in the first place did they volunteer to come and then they're not talking anything. But that case where I had like a very negative experience with this is they didn't volunteer actually, they were kind of asked to participate. It was like a hierarchy kind of a thing. So they were asked to participate and they were just showing up there because they had to. So be prepared for any dull moments, but I don't think that will happen here. But then the next point, I think this is a very important point, is use a variety of strategies to involve people, because people have different participation styles, and even some people may not be as extroverted, or some people may not be talking very freely, but that doesn't mean that they are not interested. So use the different varieties, strategies to participate. So some of the strategies I will share that I have used. If I don't know how many people will be there, like do you know?
We don't know yet, right? Yeah,
So-
because we're still gonna.
Yeah, in my focus groups, like there were 10, 15 kind of numbers. So to the extent possible, I used to remember names. So if you call them by names and ask them to participate, the research shows that it increases the involvement. So if possible, just try to address them by their names. And then the other thing that I said, like go one by one. Like if I say, okay, if you answer it, then I can say, okay, do you have anything to say? Or like, what do you think about the answer that she has given? Just try to ask like that. And then if someone is giving a lengthy answer, then just paraphrase it and tell in 2 or 3 sentences. Like, this is one of the best practices, like number 1 kind of a thing, just to make sure that we are on the same page as what the person is thinking. Just try to paraphrase a really lengthy answer and just say that, okay, this is what you were saying, right? Kind of. Just to double check that we understood the way the person is trying to convey the answer. And the other point, which is also very important, is prevent people from changing their opinion. If they change their opinion in the natural course, that is okay, but don't create a situation where they are kind of feeling the peer pressure that they have to change their answer, right? Even though we say and we are trying to do that, there's no right or wrong answer. But the way in which if you don't try to balance the opinions, some people may feel that, okay, I think what I said previously is not correct, but the person may not be really feeling that inside. So we should maintain that very clearly, like balance the opinions and never make a person change their opinion because of external factors. Like if they themselves feel after a conversation has gone for some time, they feel that, okay, I think I'll change my opinion, that is fine. But we have to maintain this non-threatening kind of very friendly atmosphere. Then the other important thing is use some kind of skillful probing. Like you can just give some, if you have a question, right? So like overall, like out of your involvement in the project and discussions with the project director, you know what the answers should be. Like they can be positive, they can be negative, there can be a range of views, but you know like what you are asking and what you are trying to gather, right? If people are not giving that perspective, you can give some probes. For example, in one of the focus groups that we conducted, it was a citizen science program where the citizens of the state were doing some volunteering work to monitor this stream water quality. So one of the questions was, what do you think is the value of this program for each of the stakeholders? So by stakeholders, they meant the extension people, the citizens of the state, the project directors, the Department of Natural Resources. But some people were not getting the meaning what the stakeholders meant, and they were only giving their perspective what it meant for volunteers. Then they really said like, okay, do you think this group can be a stakeholder? So give some probes when they are not able to answer, right? And then know clearly when to move on to the next topic. Like one method is like if there are repeatedly the same things coming up, you can just move on to the next one. And then if someone wants to talk, then just let them talk, but you know like when to move on to a next topic. And then as I just said, like encourage participation, try to involve everyone, but do not overdo it, because people if they don't want to answer, then that's it, right? We really can't do anything about it. And then the next important point, number 11, is encourage both positive and negative feedback. Like let them tell whatever they want to tell, and if it ends up only as a positive feedback, then you can just tell that are there any improvements needed to this? Do you think there are any improvements that are needed to the program or whatever, right? And then try to deal effectively with negative feedback. If you are getting extremely negative feedback, then don't get angry or frustrated inside, or don't take things personally, right? It's just it's not about you. They are just talking about the program. It's not about the project directors. So for me, like during one of these such experiences, one of the persons basically said like my research was useless. So that's exactly the words they used. Like I don't know what you are going to get from this. This is a really useless thing. But then there was some feedback, right? Then we asked the person like why does she or he think so? So they said like you have been collecting needs from like I was new. The program has been collecting needs assessments. Like they have been doing this for so much time, but they are not really effectively addressing it. There are so many factors why it was not being done, but they were frustrated. And because I was a new person, they just said this research is useless, but that gave me sufficient hints and feedback to improve my program, right? So then refrain from asking the why questions that the participant may not be able to answer. So this why questions is not the rich descriptive type of questions, right? Like we are not just asking dichotomous yes or no questions. We want them to share their views, but if they tell something, share an opinion, just don't go on asking why this opinion, right? we want descriptive answers related to your opinion, right? Do you think so? If they say yes, then just ask, why do you think so? And after they say that, then you don't ask why, like what is the line of thinking, right? So we just want what they are thinking, what their views are. We just don't want everything behind, like why they are thinking so, right? It's their experience. And then always remember, despite you telling upfront that everything is going to be confidential, anonymous, everything, there will still be some fears, right? So people do fear the potential repercussions, especially because they're students. They'll have that fear. So do your best to tell that this is really confidential. It will not go beyond the research group, and their names will not be identified, right? I think you are reading it out in the introduction, but still just tell them. And whenever you tell this, you can also tell that they can like leave the focus groups anytime they want. Even after they start participating halfway through, if they want to leave, they are welcome to leave. So just tell them very clearly 2 or 3 times that they can leave anytime they want. And then foster a natural discussion, like kind of let them express their views clearly instead of creating an artificial environment where they're expected to be scholarly or anything like that. They're just like sharing their views, right? Their views don't have to be in line with what research says. So don't go too deep into research, right? Like in the sense, okay, this is what research says. Do you think like this or not? So don't attach any values to what they say. Then honor their experiences, like each person goes through different experiences in life, so just honor their experiences. Show respect even in your body language. Make it very clear that you are respecting their opinions. And then I have like, so yeah, maybe these are, I have listed them as some soft skills, but they are really important. Good listening skills is very, very, very important. Then good communication skills, right? Then control your personal views. Don't, if someone says something like you ask a question and then they say, then you don't say, yeah, that's correct, or yeah, that's okay, or nothing, like you are just taking the notes, right? You are just asking question and then, okay. You can just say, okay, but just say, yeah, that's correct, or something like that. And I don't think so, or don't use such words. Then, as I just said, control emotions, don't get excited. And then, this I don't think will happen with this focus group, but be prepared to handle unexpected situations, because this is the one data collection method that is sure to give you a lot of surprises, right? So just don't don't be afraid to face any unexpected situations. So that's one of the things. Like I did not experience this, but in one of the research papers that I read, this researcher was telling, but I know her, like she is very experienced. Maybe she has 30 years experience conducting focus groups research. So she was conducting a focus groups on the topic was whether or not the university should, and to what extent, if at all yes, to what extent they should involve with community engagement work. So in the focus groups, the people were all the faculty were talking about how that is not valued in their promotion and tenure, and they were never going beyond that point of answering the why, if the university should do it or not, and if it should do it, to what extent should they do it. But they never answered that question, like during the entire focus group. They just were talking about how it is not valued in their promotion and tenure. And this researcher told them that, okay, this is noted, acknowledged, we have noted it down, we will let the authorities know. So now let us move to the other aspects of this topic, but still they didn't at all talk about the engagement part. They were just talking about why it is not, how it is not valued. So as a result of that, she called it as unfocused within a focus group. But then she says that she learned something that was important, because unless this is addressed, they're not going to talk anything or about the other things. So I don't expect that it will happen in this one. But any kind of a thing, like have some kind of a plan B, like the recorder may not work or whatever, right? Just have some kind of a plan B. Yeah, and so this everyone may not have, but if you have this is like a great thing. Like have sense of humor, and if you do have sense of humor, it has to be appropriate for the culture and the context. So, but you are students yourself, so I think what will work well. So these are the best practices list I have. So if you have any questions, I can answer.
I was just wondering, can we also do like written methods, like if people are more comfortable writing their opinions, or do they have to like share? I was just wondering. If
Yeah,
that's, like,
because this is a focus group. Actually, I think they have to share. Otherwise, we could have administered a survey, right?
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but could they write it first and then share if like someone felt more comfortable like that, or is that not possible?
I don't know. Like maybe we can just ask them to talk because they are coming in with assumption, right? Like they know what they're going to do.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think they'll be convenient, but like in sense they may be okay with talking.
Yeah.
But if at all someone is really strongly like saying that I want to write it down, then maybe that is okay. But yeah, I think they know that they have to talk.
I know our like focus group sessions are going to be recorded and stuff, so I know one of your points was to like try and use their names. Should we be using their names even though that's like
Okay, right.
like confidentiality or like?
Yeah, so let me think. So I think Kali has that right in there.
Yeah, she said like your name won't be connected with like what you say.
Yeah. So maybe for this, maybe don't do it because that's what you're going to read it out. But what I used to do is just to increase participation, I used to do that. I used to take their consent, right? We're going to take their consent anyway that, okay, I'll record this. And then it was only me before we submitted it to the project director also. So I just used to use pseudonyms. If at all I wanted to use any text verbatim as a quote in my research paper, I just used to say like some demographic like a field level 2-year employee with 2 years of experience said this. But yeah, this is a good point. Don't call them by names. Yeah.
I have a question in terms of like, because you mentioned how that like respecting differing opinions in it, but I'm just wondering how you would handle a situation where a difference in opinion either becomes heated or if like that opinion is like hateful or discriminatory towards certain people. Like how would you handle that certain situation?
Yeah. So that's a very good question. You can just say that like, we are just saying up front that we have to be respectful of everyone, right? So if there is anything discriminatory, then we can just say that please withhold from such statements. Just give your opinion in a respectful manner.
Mm-hmm.
It is well taken,
Mm-hmm.
but just go to an extent where some people in the group are feeling uncomfortable sitting here.
Mm-hmm.
And then once it comes to a stage where there are enough people who have contributed, you can just say that, okay, this is the opinion of you people, and this is the opinion of the rest of the people or whoever answers it. And then if you think that you have collected sufficient information, then we can just move on to the next topic.
And if it becomes a point where they keep resisting, is it okay to ask them to leave the room?
Yeah, if there are like really troubled people, then we can respect, like politely say that we expect that this is the decorum that you need to maintain, and you are reading it out right up front. You are reading what is expected of the people. So if they don't follow that, then they can just be asked to leave.
Okay.
If someone's like giving a really lengthy answer and you kind of need to like cut them off, like how would you go about doing that?
Yeah. So when you tell the instructions up front, then you can just say that I think she's going to distribute these questions also, or tell them that okay, we think that we'll spend this much time on each question, and then we need to move on, so we cover everything. It's not that your views are all really very good. Since we need to get done with the rest of the topics also, we'll move on to the next questions. And if you have more to contribute, you can meet with the project director later or share with us afterwards. So yeah, so that's what I was saying, right? Like we should know like when to move also. Like they should not feel that they are being cut, kind of.
Yeah.
So don't be kind of rude, but just tell them that it's all well taken. Like these are really great views. But since we have to cover everything that's expected of us in this stipulated amount of time, let us move to the next one.
So I'm assuming that the note taker is probably going to have their laptop and they're probably going to have like the little clock in like the right corner or wherever corner. But for people who are facilitating, they may not have a computer. Would you think it's okay if like if we just say like, oh, I'm just gonna have my phone here, just like keep track of time? Would you say that's like a suggestion for time management, or do you have any other ways of?
I don't know, like you don't have to, like you may have a wristwatch or something, like you don't have to stick, like if it is like saying 13 minutes, you don't have to really stick to 13 minutes. It's like, okay, around 13 minutes, right? So that you don't go well beyond the time limit. But I personally think that if you keep like a cell phone, like you are focusing on that, people may think that like it's distracting to you, but if it is okay, then if you can manage it, it's okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know if I can be able to keep track of like 3
No.
minutes.
Or like, your
Something.
note takers can also just tell, right? Like,
Yeah, that's true. That's what I was also wondering. Like,
Yeah.
should we just?
Yeah, they can just give a hint that okay, we have 4 more minutes or 5 minutes.